suck at tuning my bike.
Got on our bikes and started heading out, and within 10 feet got lost again.
The first security guard or cop, he was like, the only way out is you have to get on this, you're gonna loop around the airport, then you're gonna want to come back here and get on this road that's like right in front of us.
In keeping with the theme that there's nothing more special about what we were doing, there was a very nice guy, police officer, who was like, hey, where are you guys going? And we're like, we're trying to get started on this trip over to Half Moon Bay. And he's like, okay, I ride bicycles. This is the way you should go.
This guy's like a biker. He's like, oh yeah, dude. He's like, you just go over there, like, go like 2 blocks through that parking garage, and there'll be a bike lane, and the bike lane will just like take you right through.
That was a good first day of riding though. We went through some cool neighborhoods of San Francisco, which I remember. They're hilly and windy, and it looked like cool old houses on like kind of like ivory brick houses on nice properties and that kind of stuff.
We don't go too far before we like hit this other hill that's like insanely steep. Like, it's literally the steepest hill I think I've ever seen like in person before.
I was just thinking, man, there was nothing said about this. All I've heard about is Big Sur, and this hill is kicking my ass.
Our legs were fresh, and we didn't, we weren't exactly sure what we were getting ourselves into yet.
And then we have this like one mountain we climb up after that.
I don't know that it was the highest hill or the steepest ascent. Hard in that if you try to hold your hands out for 40 minutes like this, they're going to get very heavy. Heavier than any weight you could possibly hold up.
I know, it was pretty steep. Like, it was steep where I was on my lowest gear and like standing up pedaling because it's so rough. Plus it was like really curvy, so tons of like S-turns, like really steep blind turns that you couldn't see people coming around, and for some reason we had the wind going towards us. So it'd be like, we'd be on a certain way and there'd be no wind, but then we'd get around this curve where it's like just super difficult to curve and go up a hill. This huge gust of wind would just be like blowing against us. I think I had to like jump off my bike a couple times.
We pretty much just ran on excitement. We didn't really know how to hit this hill, I don't think. But we did, we slammed it. We actually crushed the shit out of this hill. Which I now know probably wasn't a good thing, completely not stretching and things of that nature.
But coming down it, that's when I knew the trip was just gonna be amazing, because we were able to just kind of relax and then go the same pace as traffic and look around.
But we made it to the top, all 4 of us, and got an epic hill bomb going, 30, 35 miles an hour down the side of the mountain.
It's just funny. You just lean into it. You don't turn, you're leaning. That's when you know you're going fast enough. It's about 15 miles an hour. You can lean and the bike will turn.
It was just real lush and green, and made me feel alive.
I love riding up hills. I actually much prefer riding up a hill and bombing down a hill than to riding straight.
And we got to Half Moon Bay about, I want to say like 7:30 or something, maybe a little before 7:30.
We got to Half Moon Bay and we kind of did a little biking around there to look for a camp spot. Ended up camping at a cool little hike and bike spot.
I'm sure you pay like between $5 and $10 and you get this site in a campsite that's not a private site but a community site that you have to either hike or bike into.
Because there wasn't really a good tree to lock our bikes around, we just huddled them up in like a square in between, like in the middle of all of our tents, and then we locked them together. So it was like perfect.
So we crashed there. What I didn't know when we were sleeping there was that Richie, which this ended up being the first of many inside jokes, but the first one that we will probably laugh at and no one will understand is that Richie fell for the classic Hollywood version of California, which is a hot summer and girls wear bikinis, and that's all of California apparently.
He didn't bring a sleeping bag. He was expecting to sleep naked every night because it was hot and humid like Kansas City, but people misportray California in media. They just show only sunny photos. Like they say, the coldest winter I ever spent was summer in San Francisco.
Here in Kansas, it's freaking like the same. It's like as hot at night as it is during the day. And for some reason, I was thinking like, oh yeah, it's probably gonna be the same way in California. Like California's beautiful.
Temperatures dropping in like the 30s and 40s through the night. So, meanwhile, I had 2 pairs of gloves on. I literally had 2 pairs of pants on as I'm sleeping through the night. I had long johns, then pants, then like a sleeping bag, and like all these clothes.
So Richie's naked in the rain and cold. Just in the fetal position. All he brought was a pillow, a huge pillow.
I was not prepared, dude. So basically, I got like 2 or 3 hours of sleep. Probably I didn't even like keep track, but I could not sleep because I was like frigid the entire night.
I remember it being cold and rainy, and I wasn't expecting that. Kind of going into this trip. I mean, even I lived in California for 3 years, but I was still expecting it to be, you know, sunny, warm California weather. And
It was even worse though for Weston because Weston had this like beach tent that I guess wasn't even waterproof. So he got completely drenched, dude.
It rained that night. My tent isn't waterproof, so I woke up pretty wet, and my sleeping bag stayed wet for most of the trip.
So we woke up to everything just being soaking wet, and Richie looked like he didn't sleep, and it turns out he didn't because he was, trying to keep warm so he didn't die from exposure. I think at one point he said he was sitting Indian style trying to sleep. Some fucking shaman, Buddhist monk, mind over matter. But apparently that didn't work.
But it was a little rough start, Half Moon Bay, for me at least.